Hello, everybody.
Hi, everybody.
And welcome to the Weird Science Comics YouTube channel, where I'm going to be going through a King in Black tie-in, but not just any King in Black tie-in. I mean, this is Donny Cates' Venom, the book that everything started in, Venom number 32 here. It's written by Donny Cates, as I said, Ivan Coelho on art, and I have been kind of wanting to get more into the King in Black deal. At one point, I would have been really fired up about it, maybe around Venom 20. I would have been, all right, let's go. We're a little past that, maybe a year later. And so when you go into this King in Black story, and I heard there's going to be 50-some issues, you're going to have all these things going on. And the ones that I read, say The Union, that was a Empire tie-in that just ended up getting the King in Black sticker slapped on the cover, or even the Namor one by Kurt Busiek that I like enough, but it doesn't feel fully connected right away to the King in Black story. Well, I still would like to think that the Venom book is a full-out important book that you need to read for the King in Black stuff. And so far, it's getting there. But last issue, Venom number 31, we spent the whole issue Eddie falling off the Empire State Building. I know it's a big building, but please, he fell for 19 pages. He just fell. And so when we get to this, I'm wondering, okay, we got to get something this week, right? So we do, and we get Eddie hitting the car. Well, we kind of saw this already in King in Black 2, so it's nothing new here, but there it goes. He hits the car, and as we saw at the end of King in Black 2, after Tony tried to end up going and getting some dragon symbiote by changing its DNA with the Extremis armor, it didn't quite work, and it seemed as Eddie died at the end of the issue, as Dylan showed his powers to all, even though readers would have known what he can do. You end up going into this and kind of repeat that now he is falling into heaven, hell, or the hive mind. What ends up being, he ends up in the hive mind of Noel because of his long connection to his other, to his symbiote. He has become a codex, a ghost, a memory. This is explained by Rex. Rex, the fella that started out all this with Eddie at the beginning of this Donny Cates series, and we ended up seeing him at the beginning of last issue, which at that point I thought was weird. I mean, I should have guessed that this was a way to tie him in and remind people about him. But I was like, why are we going back and recapping the first couple issues? I see why, because he's here with this Tyrannosaurus Rex symbiote deal. And he's like, come with me if you want to live. He's playing all Arnold here with Eddie to explain things. But while they are there in this hellscape, they are ghosts, kind of. They are memories. And it reminds me, and what I said when I talked about this on our podcast, is it ends up feeling a lot like the symbiote of Christmas Past, the ghost of symbiote past even. It's very Christmas Carol-y with the idea that Rex is showing Eddie, look, all this destruction, kind of reminding everybody who's reading that Noel has pretty much destroyed the world, but also give Eddie that bit of he has to get things done because he wants to be the hero type of deal. And he does try to save a family at one point. He zips right through them. Again, very Christmas Carol-y. And then he ends up having a dragon attack and he runs right into this. This is all this stuff that ends up throwing them back into the hive mind. And they do end up there. And one of the big things about the hive mind, and when Eddie and Rex get in there, is the massive amount of people that are plugged in now. You didn't get that before, and I do like this, to see that there are a ton of people that have been taken over by symbiotes. So you end up Eddie seeing that, and Eddie, it seems, thought that, I get that there's the hive mind, I get that there's going to be people that are taken in, but I didn't think there'd be just normal people, women and children and old people, whatever, because this is everybody, including some heroes, Thing and Cap, he spells out, that we see right there. But this whole deal with the hive mind, it really gives you the scope that the heroes better start getting off their butts and start doing something, because this stuff is getting really, really bad. Now, with that, I want to see more of that. When you have so many tie-ins, and the tie-ins are kind of dealing some things in the past, like Symbiote Spider-Man or Namor, some things, in space that we have with Guardians of the Galaxy this week, all this stuff going on, you kind of get away from the main theme, the main deal, and that's Noel. We've waited for Noel to show up. We've waited for Noel to, be the big bad, only to have him be that. And again, after this week, 17 issues in, We've seen him a little. He's made fun of Eddie, thrown some shade, sat on his throne, stuff like that. And that's what we're going to get again this issue. We're not going to get a lot of progression with Null. I need that. I'm at the point where I need that this many issues in. But Eddie's not going to give up. He doesn't give up. He has his son to save. He says, I have to save my son Dylan. I'm going to do all this. And Rex is like, you can't really do much. You don't even have a shirt. Look at you, you bare-chested, sexy man. And he's like, we're not real. We're memories. We're codexes now. This is what's going on. Now, Eddie does end up then going and seeing his dead body. Again, I keep repeating it, like a Christmas Carol deal to kind of show, look, it's over. Rex takes him there to give him that finality of, it's over, buddy, and let's deal with what we have because you ain't got nothing going on. And there is Dylan still crying over the body. And Eddie reaches out to rub Dylan's head, and he goes through it like he did the family earlier. But he goes through it in a weird, like, memory codex symbiote way that I do think ends up affecting Dylan going forward. I think that maybe Dylan will know that his father was there as a memory, but it does look like something's bonding and binding in there. So we'll have to see how that plays out. But back in the hive mind, Eddie's had enough. He says, I had the symbiote on, me and my other were together for a long time. You might think that you've done some things. You haven't done crap compared to me. So I should be able to really kick ass if I can find my other in this whole symbiote hive mind. I got to find him. We're going to bond again, and then we're going to wreck house. And the problem is you kind of have the idea that Rex knows where his other is and says, it's not going to be a problem finding your other. I mean, that's the easy part. It's trying to get it because it looks like, no, well, I said he's not doing much by sitting on his throne. He's kind of there twirling around Eddie's other for fun. This is how he passes the time. Some people watch The Mandalorian. Some people play video games. He just sits there and tosses around the symbiote like it's a balloon while on his throne that I know also passes for a toilet. I'm sure of that. You can't convince me otherwise, but they're going to have to figure out a way to get his other. Now, you have Rex. Rex says he's in. He has his. He has the Tyrannosaurus Rex deal going. He can do that, but they need more. And luckily for them, more shows up. More comes a knocking, and that more is Flash Thompson. And it's Flash Thompson, Venom Space Knight. And I think it's awesome. I love Flash. I love the Venom Space Knight book. So him showing up actually gets me fired up and really does save my score at the end. I think the art by Ivan Coelho is great. The story, though, it's, Donny Cates trying to work his layers still when I need just some action. I need some progression. I need some forward stuff, not just peeling the layers off of the hive mind and the codex and let me go see this and that. It does give you the scope of things. It does show you what's at stake for Eddie. But if you've been reading this book, and I know that might be me being selfish, but I kind of think this is a event for the people who read the book. If you've read Venom all this time, you know all this stuff. You know what's at stake. You know what's important for Eddie. So seeing it, yeah, that's fine. But I need progression. Finally, in the tie-in, we get some by the end. When Flash Thompson's there, that is one of the bigger moments so far in this whole event, in my mind, besides just Null coming, putting a cocoon of symbiote goo around the Earth and then going and sitting on his toilet. This is pretty big. I'm excited about it. So with that, my score did go up a little from it, and it's a 7.5 out of 10. That's not completely negative. I might be more down with the event as a whole as it's going than just this issue. And maybe, Venom 32 is taking the brunt of some of my frustrations, but it did point out a lot of things that did frustrate me as well, while still being one of the better, if not the best tie-ins so far. I like the Black Cat tie-in as a fun little diversion. I even like the Iron Man Dr. Doom saving symbiote Santa one, but this one feels important. This one feels like we're starting to get things going. It's just that after this week, 17 issues, you got to do more than just get things going, but that's the world we live in. That's the comics, landscape that we're all getting through. But thanks for watching and listening. I hope that you enjoyed this video. And if you did, please subscribe to the channel down below, like it, all of that sort of thing. And also check out our podcasts. We have a podcast, DC Comics Podcast, a Marvel Comics Podcast, which will be mostly what people who are listening to this video doing that and all that. Just look in the notes below, all the links to all of our stuff, including, I'll even give it out here, our Weird Science Marvel Comics Twitter. It's WS Marvel Comics. If you follow us, we'll follow you back 100%. That is something that I am very, big about. I think that people should, as a courtesy, if you want to see what I'm doing, I'd like to see what you're doing. I get all creepy too. I warn you. But other than that, thanks everybody. I hope you enjoyed this, and I'll talk to you soon.